Hi everybody, welcome to the Garage. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. The Court of Public Opinion is in session. Gary's here and Pete's here, and I'm very glad that you are here. Best wishes to our sponsors, Rossdale Homes. I'll have a word about them later. The definition, by the way, I found this, it's rather funny, I think. The definition of a politician. Anyone want to have a go at that?
It's right up there with a lawyer, isn't it? How do you know?
Well, a lot of lawyers in politics.
How do you know they're lying? Their lips are moving.
It could be that. Well, this is what I found. The definition of a politician: somebody who sees light at the end of the tunnel and then orders more tunnel. Or a variation on that could be somebody who sees light at the end of the tunnel and complains about it. Anyway, I suppose it depends on which side of politics turned on the light. I don't know. OzHarvest is a marvellous charity. I don't know if you've heard of them. They started out and have gone all over Australia. They collect food, still good food, but for one reason or another can't be sold. You know, regulation, use by date, whatever. Food that would just go to landfill is redistributed to the needy. They say that of all of the people OzHarvest have as clients, people they're helping, 32% are new customers. Tells you something about the times in which we live. 74,000 people, by the way, they had to turn away. 74,000. Now, this is one of the richest countries in the world, ladies and gentlemen. Charity begins at home. $4 billion we spend on foreign aid. Stop that till we have fixed the problems we have here. Okay? I don't know. If you disagree, call me tomorrow. 0491 65 68 60. Our sponsors, as I mentioned a moment ago, Rossdale Homes, a fine South Australian family-owned company. They are famous for their absolute fixed price guarantee. No nasty surprises. And whether you're a first home builder, which is always a very nervous experience, well, the first time you do anything, it's going to be a nervous experience, or you could be a seasoned property developer. You will love them. They're very good. Their slogan is, and has been for years, Rossdale Homes, when trust is a must. Remember, only you can change the price. For peace of mind and great quality, rossdalehomes.com.au. I guess I was only a kid in primary school back in the 50s. Well, as you get older, it's amazing how sharp a lot of those early memories are. But I look back at that time as being pretty much the golden era in Australia. No debt, very low interest rates, no unemployment, no inflation, low crime rate. Just recently we passed an interesting 20-year anniversary. This government would not want to make anything of that, of course, but back on the 21st of April, very recently, 2006, that's 20 years ago, but the date, 21st of April, Australia found itself in a 1950s gold moment. After years with Peter Costello as the Treasurer, Australia was completely debt-free. The Liberal government paid off all the debt. Then, of course, as with the election of Whitlam in the 70s, long comes the Milky Bar Kid, Kevin Rudd, Kevin 07, and it all starts again. They just can't help themselves. But it does show you, you know, that we can be absolutely debt-free, and with all the benefits that go along with that. You know, whether it's at national level or it's at a personal family level, great to not have debt, huh? We are clearly living beyond our means. We owe more than $1 trillion. And that's not over a great period of time that they've managed to run that up. And then we're spending $1 trillion. Government can control what it spends. We all can, but you see, they don't. I tell you, this is how to do it, and if you think I'm wrong, tell me tomorrow. Just give each department, each portfolio minister, a set amount of money for the year. That's your budget, sir. You have to run your department, everything within that budget. You will live within your means. When you've spent that money, that's it. That's a very simple way to put a cap, a lid on this whole thing. Why hasn't someone in Canberra thought of doing that? They got an army of economists and public servants and consultants. Simple to live within your means. Once you've spent the budget, you don't go into debt. It's fascinating. After many years in the media, the ABC never ceases to amaze me. Here we are looking at the $50 billion NDIS fraud, a government-funded scandal in the ABC's current affairs program, 7:30. Their lead story that night was about a gas tax. When they did talk about the NDIS, it was, now listen, how should people navigate the changes to stay on it? Unbelievable. Sarah Ferguson, you had the minister on, ask him for his resignation, for God's sake. And I was listening to Tom Elliott on 3AW the following day, the minister, Mark Butler. He sounded like an observer, detached from the whole thing. He is responsible for the whole thing. As I said to you on Tuesday, ministerial responsibility. Tom asked him why overseas holidays were covered by the NDIS. Something, of course, for which there is really no answer. No assurance that such nonsense would stop. The whole thing is just disgraceful. The CEO, Chief Executive Officer of the NDIS, guy who runs the whole thing, nothing would happen and didn't go across his desk, said on the 9 News Thursday night, "We can't argue or litigate our way out of this mess." Really? What was he, a puppet? A bystander? What was he paid to do? It's not this mess, sir. It is your mess. It certainly isn't our mess. And with Thriving Kids, that initiative, I'm fascinated to know why anyone would imagine that with the same people who brought us the NDIS, they would be able to bring us Thriving Kids with any more success or honesty than these people have delivered in the past. And by the way, I love the way the journalists, or perhaps it was the minister himself, just going back to the press club, I don't know who organised it, but they had somebody there to do sign language to the assembled journalists. And I say to the assembled journalists, they were there to hear the minister's address, you didn't see her on TV, she was in the room. Well, certainly not the TV coverage I saw. The people who saw the signing, just the journalists in the room. Here's a question. Are they deaf as well as being dumb and blind? Sorry, fellas, just asking. We know where the media is. But where the hell is the opposition? As Maria would say, so much to talk about. And we won't get into the White House attempted assassination. We'll do that
later.
We'll do that tomorrow. The government is brilliant at shooting itself in the foot. The question is, will they run out of ammunition or feet? We have the NDIS. Yep. And then there's the 5% deposit on low-priced houses to get first home buyers easily into a home, or more easily. The first home buyer scheme, well, everyone would applaud that. Well, that didn't work out very well, did it? As I predicted last October, it would drive up the cost of low-priced houses, and that was confirmed last week. Lower-priced houses increased in price at double the rate of more expensive homes. So, listen, fellas, you increase the availability without increasing the supply, the result is totally predictable. You've got millions of people there to tell you this stuff. Maybe you just don't listen, or they're too scared to tell you the truth. Now comes Labor's ham-fisted attempt at intergenerational fairness. Oh, there is something that they thought up. Intergenerational fairness. We'll do this for intergenerational fairness. Well, in 2004, the Howard government introduced a tax incentive, a rebate, to keep older people over 65. Well, I mean, I consider people to be old when they're over 95 or 105. But anyway, 65, you're a bloody spring chicken.
Wet behind the ears.
Well, the idea was to keep people over 65 in private health insurance. A good idea because it keeps them out of the public system. Labor has announced that this incentive for over 65s will be scrapped. False economy. It's anticipated, and watch this, I'll report it to you and for you. It is anticipated that this move will cost, well, I don't know what it's going to cost, but it will cause 44,000 people to drop their private health insurance, the result of which will be these people will go on the public sector, the public system. Labor has no idea, and I don't think the opposition does either. Incentives work. The more people in private health, the better. The same with private schools. Both, therefore, should be tax deductible. And, Pauline, there's a policy that would win. It's the sort of thing that the Liberals used to do years ago, but they lost their newticals somehow, I don't know. The National Building Code, speaking of newticals, the National Building Code has decided that all public buildings must be gender neutral toilets by this time next year. What is the problem they are trying to fix? Who wants this? Why? Women don't want it. Women know what men's toilets look like and smell like. I'm sure that you wouldn't have to go too far to find out what women think about this idea. It strikes me that it's a solution in search of a problem. It's stupid. It really is. All of this stuff we can talk about tomorrow, if you like. I'd love to have you on the show. 0491 65 68 60. I wish you a happy birthday. Thank you for being with us. Oh, Lordy, it's April the 30th. Does that mean tomorrow's the 1st?
Yes.
Right. May Day. I don't think I'll be marching myself.
We could dance around a pole.
We could. Anyway, we'll have a good time. April the 30th. Oh, golly. Mr. Potato Head is the first toy advertised on television. 1952. Good God. Mr. Potato Head. Doesn't tell us how successful the campaign was, mind you. We do know in... No, I won't go there. 1945, Adolf Hitler commits suicide along with his new wife, Eva Braun, in the Führer bunker in Berlin as the Red Army captures the city. 1945. Still conjecture as to whether or not he did or he didn't. 1808, the first practical typewriter is finished by Italian Pellegrino Turri.
Could it?
T-U-R-R-I. Turri. 1808, the first practical typewriter. God, I've never seen that name associated with, certainly not this one anyway. 1808. The game of billiards is mentioned in the New England Courant. 1722 was the year. I don't know how these facts and things are collected or why. Ice cream cones make their debut at the St. Louis World's Fair, invented by Ernest A. Hamwee, independently of other claimants, and there were two, names not mentioned, 1904. Anyway, ice cream cones, invented this day. Christopher Columbus is given a royal commission by Spanish monarchs. There was Isabella I and Ferdinanda II to equip his fleet for the New World, which he proceeded to go out and conquer, claim, discover. Okay. Air New Zealand, then known as Teal, yeah, I remember that. Teal makes an inaugural flight from Auckland to Sydney. It becomes the first airline in the world to boil hot water in flight to offer customers a cup of tea or coffee. 1940, you'd have thought they'd have had some way of warming the water before 1940. What was the first airline in the world? Does anyone know? I had a feeling it was Cathay Pacific.
I thought it was when Orville Wright gave his son a ride.
Well, that's hardly yeah, not a paying passenger. Or was it KLM? KLM was around the 1920 mark. Anyway, George Washington is inaugurated as the first president of the United States of America at Federal Hall in New York City, and on that occasion, no one tried to kill the president. That was 1789. Germany ratifies a bill introducing daylight saving time. Why? Why? The first country in the world to do so, and 1916 was the year, and this was the day, and I wish they hadn't done it. 1888, American big actor, in every sense of the expression, Tom Hanks, 31, wed second wife, American actress Rita Wilson. She was 31, in Los Angeles, California, 1988. Chancellor Robert Livingston and James Monroe signed the Louisiana Purchase, doubles the size of the United States of America. What a deal!
Absolutely.
And then they put Alaska, and that was, I think, 7 million. They bought that from Russia.
Russia? They regret that.
The Americans have always been good at real estate, it would seem. Yeah. Hailstones, allegedly as big as oranges, kill 246 people and some 1,600 sheep and cattle in India on this day in 1888. Good. New York becomes the first state to charge a hunting license fee on this day in 1864. Did that include politicians, I wonder?
Good point.
The Americans are a funny mob. They think we're a funny mob. No, they think we're a weird mob. Angus Moorhead, American actress, in Dora in Bewitched, dies of uterine cancer at the age of 73. She was a lovely,
She was gorgeous.
wonderful, theatrical. Well, you'd expect an actress to be theatrical, wouldn't you?
As you would.
I think so. I liked Agnes Moorehead. 1974, one more. Geoffrey Roberts, English wine merchant, championed Australian and Californian wines, dies at 46. I hope, sir, you were happy when you went. Geoffrey Roberts, 1994. We should lift a glass to Geoffrey.
Indeed, I just did.
Good boy. Good boy. I will look forward to your company tomorrow Round the dining room table, jeremycordeaux.com, 0491 65 68 60, and we'll have lots to talk about. Thank you for viewing the Court of Public Opinion. Believe in yourself, and goodbye for now.